Welcome to Autogeek Show Car Garage here in sunny Stuart, Florida. I'm your host, Mike Phillips, and today I want to welcome two very special guests, Mike Pennington, the Director of Training for Meguiars, and Jason Rose, the Product Development Manager for the Professional line.
How are you, Mike?
Hey, pretty good. Hey, I hear you guys got a brand new paint polishing system that we're going to showcase here today at Autogeek Show Car Garage. You want to tell us a little bit more about it?
We do, actually. So if you back up a little bit and think about all the tools that detailers utilize to work on a vehicle, there's a lot to choose from. Even if you think about specific application, you've got hand application, you've got DA application is at one end of the spectrum. At the other end of the spectrum, absolutely. Safe, easy.
Everybody's got two hands.
There you go. Other end of the spectrum is the rotary polisher. And while those are very fast and remove a lot of defects, we all know that they come with their risks as far as using one. So there's a big gap in between those. And we know over the years there's been products launched, there's been some tools launched, there's been some machines launched that have really tried to minimize that gap. But we've been working really hard to bridge that gap. So with that said, we are really excited to announce our DA Microfiber Correction System that truly bridges that gap between a DA polisher and a rotary buffer.
Sure, now with the rotary, of course, if you don't know what you're doing, you make a mistake, you can inflict swirls in the paint, possibly even burn the paint. But with a DA polisher, because the pad is going to oscillate, it's pretty safe. Just about anybody can get show car results. Is that the goal of this system?
Yeah, actually, with all the components working together in synergy, this system attempts to deliver that rotary-like defect removal, but with the safety and performance of a DA.
And ease of use of a DA,
exactly,
too.
Yeah.
Well, tell you what, I'm real anxious to see this new system at work. So let's get busy and have some fun.
Let's go.
Get on it.
Okay. Well, Jason, before we get started, can you go through each one of the products and kind of explain what they are and what they do?
Sure. As we mentioned, this is a complete system, so each of these components are designed to work with other parts of the system. It's a two-step process, and the first step begins with a compound and a cutting pad. But I'll start with this product. It's called the DA Correction Compound, or DA Microfiber Correction Compound. It has a great fragrance. True Meguiar's form.
That smells good.
Yeah. So this compound is very, very specific. Unlike some of our other compounds that are considered to be like universal, this one's very, very specific. We went to R&D and said we want a compound specifically made for DA application on OEM applied paint and with this particular pad system.
Okay, so DA specific means oscillating action, not rotary action, not random hands, but just specifically for a DA polisher.
Exactly, made for the DA.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So we're excited to show that to you.
I noticed the lid here is unique in that I'm going to guess this means self-cleaning. There's a little tab that sticks out of the slot when you close it.
Yeah, this was unique. As part of the system, we've come out with this bottle. It's a two-stage pull, meaning that the user can actually get 50% dispensing or 100% on the full pull. But this actually is self-cleaning, like you mentioned. So there's no more little red tip to lose and no more clogged tips. And
you've really scienced out the bottle cap there.
Yeah. So we're excited about that bottle. The compound does use our super micro abrasive technology.
Okay, that's the SMAT technology.
Yeah. But again, specifically formulated for the DA application.
Okay.
There's a variety of sizes we're launching with. There's a gallon, the quart size, and then this new 16-ounce bottle. You
can actually buy this just like this in the 16-ounce bottle? Or is that a pour-off bottle?
No, I'm glad you mentioned that. For the first time, Meguiar's is actually, we're going to pre-fill these. So you can buy this just like you see it right here. And then in addition to that, we'll have this as a secondary dispenser. So if you're a gallon buyer.
Detailers buy in bulk.
Yeah.
So they want to pour
into this. Yeah.
Perfect.
So glad you mentioned that. Now with the DA Microfiber Correction Compound, there's a very specific microfiber pad that's made to work with this chemical. The thickness and the diameter is all made specific for that application. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So this is a actual microfiber material, and like we talked about earlier, that up until now the industry is used to wiping off residues and chemicals and stuff with a microfiber towel.
Yeah, microfiber is very gentle to the finish. So in the past, we've always used microfiber to wipe products off the paint, and now with this new pad, we're going to use microfiber to apply products to the paint.
Yes. We've also done something unique to the back. There's no silk screen printing here. This is actually embossed in there. which is kind of cool.
That's the letter M. I'm going to guess that stands for Mike.
Meguiars is what we intended there.
Okay, well, and of course now this is a burgundy foam, and this indicates this is the cutting microfiber pad.
Consistent with the Meguiar's color scheme in our pad line.
Sure.
So yeah, burgundy would be cutting, and then we also have a black for finishing.
Just like in the soft buff pad line.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, so it's color coordinated.
Yep. And you do see a variety of sizes here, as long as we're talking about that this is obviously for spot repair, doing small spots on the car. We have a 6-inch pad system, which can be used on your flex DAs.
The 3401?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the pneumatic sanders, you have some detailers that use air sanders, and this pad works well for that. And then the 5-inch system for the Meguiar's tool or any other tool in that category.
What's nice I like about the 5-inch pad system is a lot of panels on new cars, like look right here. It's thin. They're thin panels between body lines, so you don't want to get too big of a pack. Not like the old days where cars had just these massive, huge panels.
Right.
New cars have long, thin panels between body lines or pinstriping or trim.
Perfect for that. So that's the first step in the 2-step process, the DA Microfiber Correction Compound with the DA cutting disc.
Okay. Now, is there any difference between the type of microfiber for the cutting pad? Because they're both white.
Yeah, everything about the pad actually is different because it's purpose-built for defect removal on this, purpose-built for finishing and waxing on this. So everything about them, with the exception of probably the loop material in the back, is the same, but the foam material itself, the microfiber has a different density, different pile length.
Okay, that's important because a lot of people might look at these and they'll look at it and go, well, I could use either one of these because it's just white microfiber. But you're saying that the fibers themselves are actually very specific to the chemical and the process the guy's trying to work on.
In that step, yep, absolutely.
That's important to point that out.
Yep, and the thickness, and the stiffness of the foam, all that's been engineered to do what it's supposed to do.
Now the polishing pad here, or the waxing pad, is much thicker, a lot softer. This is very dense, and of course it's a lot thinner.
Yep.
So I'm going to imagine when this is on the DA, because it's thinner, you get a lot real aggressive if you want rotating action and oscillating action at the same time.
A lot more pad spin, yep.
Okay, that's important for removing swirls and scratches.
Yep. So that would be your first step, and then the second step in the system, which by the way can also be used as a 1-step, but this is what we're calling a finishing wax, the DA Microfiber Finishing Wax, again with a very nice fragrance.
That's blueberry.
Yes.
Can I drink it? It smells good enough to drink.
Put it on your pancakes, whatever you want to do.
Hey, it's got the dispenser for the pancakes too, doesn't it?
Yes. Okay. So, and again, purpose-built, this liquid is designed to do 2 things. It's going to refine the paint finish, add some clarity and gloss, and then it's going to lay down some protection.
Okay. And again, I just want to point out that you said this could also be used as a standalone product. So if you have a car that doesn't really have a lot of swirls and scratches, you could go ahead and just use this without using the compound.
Exactly.
Okay.
In this case, because of all the scratches we have on this car, we're going to do the 2-step process.
Very good.
So you use these, 2 together.
Okay.
And you use these 2 together. And the variety of pad sizes, it's important to point out that the backing plate used to apply the system is very, very important to performance. The performance depends on having the right backing plate, actually. So our W67DA backing plate with this type tool is what's needed.
That's the recommended backing plate. And I agree, backing plate is key to product performance. There's a lot of backing plates on the market, and just by changing the backing plate, you can completely alter the performance of the pad and the chemical. So it's always best to follow the manufacturer's directions because you guys spent years sciencing this out, isn't that correct?
Oh yeah, this is one of the projects that we've worked on that's actually had the longest development time. We're working on the pad itself for over 7 years, and then the liquids, for 2 years.
Yeah, I know that one thing about Meguiar's is sometimes you might be perceived as moving slowly, but when you launch a product system, it's right.
Yeah.
So
we do our best to do that. So the other thing I'll point out in the system is this new Meguiar's pad conditioner brush. And the reason that's out there is because the performance depends on frequent pad cleaning.
Very key.
Yeah.
Very
So
key.
as you go on the fly, as you're doing the car, you need to keep this pad clean.
So one of the things I do in all my classes is I teach guys that got to work clean. You cannot expect to get show car results if you've got product building up on the face of the pad, you got product on the surface of the paint, so you need to clean the paint often and clean your pad often. A lot of guys think that means like once per detailing session, and no, that's every panel or every other panel, be cleaning that pad, inspecting. If you start to see product build up, get it off there.
Right.
So the brush, that's a nice addition to the system.
So let's see, the other things I could tell you about the system in closing here is the liquids are formulated, so once you prime the pad, and priming means you thoroughly get good coverage on the pad of the liquid.
Uniform coverage over the entire face of the pad,
Yeah.
so when you turn it on, the entire face of the pad is going to work right away for
Right.
you. Okay.
But once that pad's primed, the system actually uses a very little amount of product. So you'll prime the pad, and after priming, it's just a small dot. I'll show you that in a few minutes here.
Now, can I take a guess as to why that is? Just so
Sure.
everybody knows. That's because the SMAT technology, the braces don't really break down. So you don't need a ton of product. You just need an ample amount, and let the product, the braces
Yeah.
do the work for you.
Well, another reason is that by contrast, if you're comparing this microfiber pad to, say, a foam pad, which has typically been used for years, a lot of times when you use a foam pad, the liquid gets soaked into the material, which doesn't happen here.
Pad saturation is what we call that, and it
Yeah.
affects the pad performance, and it wastes a lot of product.
Yeah. So it doesn't happen on this. It's the liquid stays out on the microfiber, so it doesn't require as much
Excellent.
during the application.
Excellent.
So how's that paint looking, Mike? Well, the good news is it's pretty smooth, so we don't need to use the clay. However, the bad news is it's traditional daily driver is what I see in here. All these below surface defects. We've got towel marks, we've got swirl marks, we've got water spots. There's some really severe swirl marks over there. Picked up on a couple of scratches and scuffs over here, so this is going to be a great candidate for the DA microfiber correction system.
Good deal. Hey, Mike, do you have a light?
Sure do.
Let's see the. I can clearly see the scratch.
Here's my trusty dusty swirl finder light.
Thank you.
How's it look?
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Nice. Well, let's get to it.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, first I'm going to lay down a tape line here.
Now, what the tape line is going to do is it's going to enable us to visually see the dramatic before and after difference from what the compound and the wax can do for the finish here.
That's right. And speaking of tape, we'll notice that we haven't taped off the squirters, we haven't taped off the cracks and crevices, we haven't covered our windshield wiper blades.
That's because of the rotary buffer. Typically, you're going to get some splatter, some product sling. And with the DA polisher, you're going to reduce the amount of product sling, the splatter, so you're going to have less time invested in taping everything off, less time cleaning up after the detailing is done, maximize profits.
Exactly right. So all those things associated with that rotary application, we don't have to do that now.
So what's the first step here, Jason?
First step in the process is, as we mentioned, we're doing this DA Microfiber Correction Compound along with the DA Microfiber Cutting Disc. We're going to demonstrate with our 5-inch system right now. So the very first thing you want to do is prime this pad properly.
It's important to line this up to the backing plate too.
Yeah.
Get that centered on there. It just has to be close though, right?
Yeah.
But the
it's a
rotary
DA,
buffer has to be dead on accurate, but the DA just has to be close.
Right. So if I can, there we go.
Okay, so this is the compound.
Right.
Now this is called priming the pad.
Yes.
This is key to product performance. You want to make sure the entire face of this pad has product on it, so when you turn this polisher on, 100% of the pad is going to work for you right off the bat.
Yeah, you can do your own signature designs or whatever you want to do.
Happy face maybe?
The important part is coverage.
I like to make the letter M. For Meguiars, of course.
Yes. So we check our speed. We should be at speed. On this tool, it's setting number 4, but the target speed is 4,800 orbits per minute, regardless of what tool you're on.
Okay. Now, I noticed you were using a fairly slow arm speed and kind of a crisscross pattern there.
That's right. There's two important factors during this application. One is a very slow arm speed, because if you're going too fast, you're not really working on the defects too well. And then moderate downward pressure.
Okay. So one of the things I show in our detailing classes here, just to help you visually see if the pad's rotating, because that's key to removing the defects, is take and put a little black marker, like with the, usually I go in here, like a black Sharpie.
Sure.
And that way you can tell if it's rotating, because at this point of the game, the most important thing is to remove the defects, the swirls, the scratches, the water spots, because if you don't remove them in the compounding step, they're going to be there when you wipe the final wax off.
Yep, exactly right. So
Another important part of the compounding step is keeping that pad clean at all times. Not necessarily when you're done with the vehicle, but individual panels. And we've got really 3 ways we recommend doing that. First is compressed air will work fantastic. Another option is going to be our pad conditioner brush that we are releasing as part of the system as well. And we also have a pad washer that works fantastic when you're done, possibly at the end of the car and getting ready to put the pads away for the night. You can use a pad washer at the same time.
Okay. How about, can you wash them in a washing machine?
yes, yeah, the pads are designed to be machine washed and dry, which is a great added feature.
That'll be a big hit with people, because then you just throw them in the washing machine, close the lid, walk away, let the machine do all the work.
Just show you real quick how to brush this. Just want the fibers fluffed up again, and this loose material flung off.
Okay, so I know from my experience when you're buffing, anytime you're doing the defect removal step, not only are you going to end up with some spent product on the pad, but you're also removing a small measurement of the paint on there. So you got to get that off before you put fresh product on and move on to a new panel.
Absolutely. So cleaning is important with this system.
We're clean all the time. So what would the next step be?
Well, we're going to wipe this residue off.
Okay, do you want to let this dry, or?
You can do, small spots and go around the car, or you can do the whole hood and then wipe off.
Sure, some detailers, they will do an entire car to wipe the product off, some will do section by section. So I'm going to guess, did you design this to actually be easy to wipe off? Is that part of the feature?
Easy wipe off. One of the important features of the system we designed into this was the easy wipe off, because we understand that time it takes to wipe off residues is added time on the whole car.
Plus, it tires out the detailer.
Yeah.
If you got to struggle to get
fatigue.
some. Plus, if you're working with a product that's hard to wipe off, you actually risk putting tally marks back in after you've removed all the scratches, because of the how hard it can be to wipe that product off. When I was watching you, it looked like you're wiping off a quick detail or a finishing wax.
Very quick wipe off.
Yeah, quick wipe off.
So we're going to go to our second step in the process now. At this point, the defects should be gone.
I don't see nothing. The water spots are, in fact, you know what? This looks like you waxed it. And what we had there before was swirls, scratches, and water spots. Just a typical, wear and tear on a daily driver.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's one of the features of this compound, is that we didn't want it to look like it was compounded. So as you can see, you're
most people would think you put a wax on there, not compounded it.
So the second step with the DA finishing wax is going to do 2 things for you. It's going to increase this paint clarity another notch, and we're going to lay down some protection. And the protection in this product is a polymer blend, so it's certainly no slouch in protection. It'll hang on this car for a long time. And again, the blueberry smell.
Yeah, but don't drink it, right? Okay. So now we're going to use the same OPMs, the same speed setting?
Actually, no. Thanks for pointing that out. We are going to slow this down to setting 3 on this tool, or 3,800 orbits per minute on other DAs.
Okay, so this is the G110 V2.
V2, right.
And you're on the 3 setting for applying the wax?
Yes.
Okay. And again, we're going to prime the pad?
Yep. You can do the hem or whatever pattern you want to do here. Coverage is important.
SCG would be a good pattern on there.
The important thing is just to make sure you have really good coverage.
Okay. And I noticed that the fibers, after you just begin to work it, have already laid down flat. And that's normal. People shouldn't expect them to stay out fluffy the entire time they're buffing. That ain't going to happen.
Correct.
Okay.
You should have noticed something different about that application.
It was a lot faster. You had a faster arm speed, and basically you made 2 or 3 passes and you're done.
And the downward pressure is pretty much the weight of the tool. Very light, but very fast arm speed. This actually should be the absolute fastest part of the whole system. This should be really fast.
Now, do you need to let this dry?
Again, you don't have to. You can wipe this out as you go, or you can do the entire car and
Personal
then wipe
preference.
the residue. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, in some reconditioning environments where it's high volume operations, in our pre-market testing, we literally have two detail technicians walking around the car. So one's putting the product on, the other one's wiping it off.
That fast?
Literally as fast as he's putting it on, it's
Well, that's the
wiping
industry,
off.
though.
So that's how fast of a wipe off we're getting
Wow,
there.
that looked effortless.
A 6-inch system and a 3-inch system. So the 6-inch system is ideal for air pneumatic sanders that you can convert to a polisher. And then as well as you can put that 6-inch pad system on the Flex 3401. And then in addition, we've made a spot repair system, so the 3-inch pad system can be used on small mini tools for spot repair and working out, small defects or hard to reach areas.
Okay, let's pull the tape off and check out the before and after results.
Look at that.
Day and night difference. The clarity and the gloss, all the defects are gone. Over here, we still got all the swirls, the scratches, the water spots. It's dull and hazy.
That's a remarkable difference.
The metallic flake really pops when you put that light on there.
Yep. Looks great.
One of the things I noticed is when you were doing this, the compounding, the waxing, you didn't break a sweat. I mean, it's just, you made it look so easy, but it is easy, isn't it?
Well, relative to rotary application on this, it's remarkably simpler, easier to do.
And I would call these customer-pleasing results. I mean, that looks good.
Yes, looks great.
Okay, is there any other key points you want to stress about this system before we wrap this up?
Yeah, the system is targeted for OEM factory applied paint.
Okay.
So that's important to remember.
Sure.
Not fresh paint
Not first paint.
in a body shop. So factory applied paint. The other thing is it best results on a cool surface,
Sure, cool surface in the shade.
right? Did I miss anything, Mike?
DA specific.
Yes.
You
DA
know,
specific.
With multiple size pads.
Okay.
And it really takes that rotary out of the hand, so it's going to deliver swirl-free results. And again, on all these factory-applied paint finishes.
And that's
Whether
key.
you're a professional or just an enthusiast.
And that's key, because I know a lot of people, one thing, they love their car, but they hate the swirls. So this is going to enable a detailer to get professional results every time.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, for more information, check out autogeek.net and click on Shop by Brand, then select Meguiar's. And be sure to stop by our fun and friendly discussion forum at autogeekonline.net. That's where you'll find me posting new how-to articles and answering questions. I'm your host, Mike Phillips, and I'll see you again on the next edition of AutoGeek's Show Car Garage. That really was a nice system. You gonna leave some of that stuff here with me?
It'll cost you.
Hey.